Um, this is
Perfect.
um First of all, thank you for coming onto the show. That it means a lot that you're
Yeah.
taking the time out to support, small projects like this. And I really enjoyed this album a lot. If I thought Beauty of Letting Go was amazing, like literally this takes the cake
hmm
for, what everybody has in
Cheers.
store.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
I'm glad that I have two people and not just one.
hmm,
So it's
Yeah,
one big party, right?
yeah.
exactly.
Um, all right, guys. Welcome to Piece of Paradox, where we dive into, different musicians, up and coming bands and stuff like that, and new albums and just the reason for why they do music. Kind of want to introduce Vicious Rain. How you guys doing?
Doing all right, doing all right. Yeah, having some last stuff that we have to take care of before the album officially drops, but it's exciting.
I'm excited for you guys. I think from going from this album, from There's Beauty in Letting Go, we're doing a lot of healing rather than hurting and, survival rather than just, collapsing under a lot of emotional weight. For you, what does the anatomy of surviving mean to you coming from something that was as emotionally deep as Beauty and Letting Go?
Like this beauty and letting go, like was all about sometimes you're stuck in a relationship or you're stuck in life in general, and
Hmm.
like you have the courage to let something go. And the first few steps, they feel like it's hard, but you feel good because you took control, and you like, there's the saying, when one door closed, another one opens. And the anatomy of surviving is more about like what comes after. You know, um, it's more like about like this, like a journey of survival, and like self-discovery and connection with yourself again, because you're going to grieve. You're going to feel a lot of emotions that sometimes they just hit you afterwards.
Hmm.
So the anatomy of surviving, like for us, is more about like self-reflection and about dealing um with all these, yeah, negative emotions that can come afterwards. um yeah.
What about for you, David?
Yeah, I feel it's the same for me really. Like it's just about having to deal with all of those emotions after like making the decision to let go, to just like head into it and deal with the emotions in yourself while surviving. And we try to also include that. With include the foresight of like still getting better, right? Like still having that positive outlook on it.
I know you guys are talking about, the positive outlook on the anatomy of surviving. If you were to dissect this album like a body, like which instrument or production choice would you point to as an organ that keeps the record alive, and why do you feel it does that for this album?
That's a tough question, actually.
Yes, that's a very good
It
question,
is.
actually.
I'm
Wow.
hitting you with the good
Right, like,
questions here.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, straight
yeah.
away with the good ones.
Yeah. Um, well, I think I'm very, very biased, of course, but I feel I am very proud of what we and what we did on this record, from a vocal perspective.
Hmm.
So so being one of the two vocalists on the album, I'm gonna have to go with the vocals. Like for me, it's just the main instrument or or part or tool that that I used for this for this one. So personally, yeah, I'd say vocally, like the vocals are like the most distinctive thing for me on this record.
Hmm. What about for you?
Yeah, man. Yeah, like going into onto this record, we tried a lot. Um, we tried to um, like different keys on a few songs for my vocals. If you could find another key that fits my voice better and stuff. And also we tried to write some songs in different guitar tunings and stuff. So like for me, like it's always if every time we start like writing in like a new record or new songs, um, for me it all starts with a good riff, you know,
Hmm.
with a guitar. Um, and yeah, so I don't know, like for me, like the heart of like this record would be yeah, the guitars, the riffs.
Now, I kind of want to dive into that because, there's songs like one of my favorites on this record is A Spotless Mind. Like the vocals and the guitars are just so ace. Like I literally listened to this album maybe 5 times, and that was a song that I kept kind of coming back to, especially like when we're diving into the intro of The Anatomy of Surviving. Um, I think there is a lot to be said about the textures that are being used in this album to create emotion. And for you, whether it was using synths or using guitars or, different cinematic elements, when did you realize that texture could carry a narrative just as much as melodies could?
Man, I think that's something that like we um like learned like pretty early on, like even on our first record. Like we work with a producer in Germany called Manuel. And for this record, we also worked specifically for a Spotless Mind with another producer in Switzerland called Michael. And for us, it's always um, like a good song for me always needs like these little nuances in the back that sometimes like listeners they don't pick it up, but
Hmm.
it's still there. Like something is there, and if it wasn't, something would be missing. And sometimes
Hmm.
as a listener, you cannot pinpoint why a part feels how it feels. So yeah, going to this record specifically, we had, for example, Michael, yeah, doing some work on the synth stuff that you just mentioned, and yeah, I think that like elevated a few songs on the record and made them a lot better than they were before.
What about for you, David?
Yeah, totally. I agree with everything that Mara said. It was always something that we considered while writing songs. But I think especially on those songs that you mentioned, we have worked with Michael, um, and he just gave it a little bit more of his own touch, which is which has this cinematic epic. Also, on the first two tracks, like panicky vibes,
Hmm.
which we really digged because it was the first time for us working together with him. Um, so that was a lot of fun, and that was really cool to add to our songs.
No, I thought it was really cool too. And, it's the last song, I think, Intertwined uses a lot of these new elements to the furthest extent that you guys have been able to go, whether it's been like using those group melodies to kind of really get that emotion out. And just the different instrumental choices that you guys used for the last track. It was just a beautiful way to end the album. Um,
Thank you.
for y- for you, can you name a sound that you deliberately left rough or jagged so the listener could feel the impact of that? And how did imperfection change the way the song was felt once you had finished that song?
We have, I think, we have a song like Trading Hearts on the breakdown there is a vocal line that we recorded where David, like, he screams and he starts laughing in the take, like, and we tried to replicate that in the studio, and we had him like for 30 minutes try to replicate the demo vocals, and and we ended up just using the one that we recorded at our rehearsal like room. Like, so on the finished song, it's just David's demo vocals, because we couldn't like replicate the take that he did, because it was so perfect in the demo that, yeah, sometimes imperfect recorded stuff are the ones you're going with, because it just hits that spot and just triggers that emotion. And yeah, so yeah, that's a funny story to it.
What about for you, David? Was there anything that you thought that was like imperfect the first time, and when you kind of heard it, you said, "Okay, we're just gonna leave it."
I remember actually on I think it was Red Noise, where we where there's a section that's very very heavy and very low screamed, and I was really not happy with that, with how it turned out, because I just felt like on that day that we recorded that part, I was just so exhausted, and um I couldn't really deliver it in a way that you would be able to understand. I mean, as far as you are able to understand these kind of vocals. But I remember that it always bothered me. Like it was always in
I
the back of my
remember
head.
that.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my, remember we have to re-record that part. And
Yeah.
when we finished up the record, of course I brought it up again, and we I stood behind I was standing behind the mic and tried to re-record it, but it was just better because it didn't really need to be super understandable. It just
Hmm.
needed that kind of rawness and chaotic kind of vibe, which was already good the way we did it before. Um, so yeah, that kind of stands out to me for to keep something that was like perfect in my ears, but it turned out to be like exactly what the song needed.
Right. I like that you kind of brought up red noise because I know for me, a spotless mind, silent therapy, and red noise, there's this way of treating silence almost like internal silence, almost like an instrument. How did you map out that the album's emotional geography using that negative space when, trying to compose the songs of what songs go where on the record?
um to be completely honest, like, we didn't like write the songs, like, we didn't like keep in mind that we had to put them in an order. We just like started writing songs, and that's always a problem for our future selves when they finish this record. We finish the record and we have to put on a track list. And yeah, like, funny enough, when the record was almost finished and we needed even like an album name, and that's when we are started to put the songs in particular order. And yeah, the funny thing is that, like, we didn't intend that the songs, like, lyrically all songs, they belong together,
Hmm.
but while writing them we didn't, like, it was not on purpose, like it was something we were doing subconsciously.
Hmm.
So when everything was done and we listened to the songs, it was, yeah, an easy decision to put the songs where they are. And yeah, I hope we can continue do like exactly that, because the writing process for this record was like very much fun.
Now, I thought that was really cool that came out that way because there's also like, whether it was like you said, it was subconsciously, there's this
Mm,
also this image of like breaking and rebuilding, like, the
yeah.
emotional machinery of your
Mm,
body. And I love that, you know, that organically just came out in the record. How much of that helped function as, you know, kind of like a diagnostic tool for the listener? Like when you listen to it back, how much did it help you better understand yourselves as musicians after that?
I feel like every song we record, after every song we record, and after every like milestone we achieve as a band, we always um it's kind of leveling up. You kind of like you just you get more experience. You know what you start to realize what you like in a song, what you like in a song when playing live, um, when when you put it out. Um, it's just really it just really comes to for us, or I can only speak for myself, but it just everything just comes together after hitting a certain, yeah, like I said, like a milestone. And it's really tough to put this into words, actually, because I thought I
Mhm.
was going somewhere, but um I'm kind of losing my trail of thought now. So, huh. Mauro, maybe you can you can help me get,
Like, I guess
get back on track
Um,
here. Like,
something that you learned about yourselves after like the record that was finished, I guess, like whether musically or, you know, intrinsically as a person personally, like what came out of, you know, that after finishing the record for you guys.
I'd say, like, speaking for myself, that and we already did that on this record, but for me, sometimes I tend to overthink stuff, even like when we're writing. Like I'm picking out like every single word. Like if there's a word I don't like I'll be like, we need to change that word. Or it could be just a small part where the drum is, I don't know, like there's needs to be something else, and I tend to overthink stuff. And like it's good to sometimes, you know, be picky or just go and rework some stuff and parts, but sometimes it's too much. And on this record specifically on the last two songs we recorded, which was the anatomy of surviving and god of glass and wire, like for me I had more like a yeah, let's just do what feels right at the moment
Hmm.
vibe. And that it made everything much like enjoyable, because sometimes you don't have to overthink stuff. So like for me, after everything was finished, like my summary is just for the next songs that we're gonna write, just yeah, don't overthink it too much. Like if it bangs, it bangs. If it sounds good, it sounds good.
Right.
Yeah, I'd say that.
Um, if you had the choice, like I know you guys have kind of been sitting for on this record for a while, but if there was a song that you could go back and redo, if you could change like some sonic element or, you know, something in a song, what would that be? And if you did change it, do you think it would change the emotional meaning of that song if you did?
To be
wow.
completely honest, Um, if you would have asked me this question on our first record, we would have like a lot of topics to talk about. But like I've been listening to this record like since we're finished, like at least once once a day, and I'm always looking for something that it's not good, something we could do better. But on this record, um, I haven't found anything yet that I would do different. Like there's like genuine, not a part where I'm like, oh, I could do, yeah, I could have done a better vocal performance, or this drum beat could have been another one, or anything. Like I'm pretty happy how it turned out, to be completely fair.
What about you, David?
Yeah, I actually totally agree. Like, it's the same for me. If you would have asked me about our first record, there would have been we had to we would have to make another interview. To, but I I'm really happy with how everything turned out, like every sound, every like I'm super satisfied with my vocal performance, and I also feel like I really grew into my own taste and my own like I got more secure about my decisions
Hmm.
because like yeah I think on the first record I was more like yeah I'm gonna shut up, like it doesn't matter. We should just finish the record. And this way around, well, there wasn't really a lot that I thought needed to change, but I think I asked more questions, and
Hmm.
I questioned like myself more, and um, yeah, it just I was just more secure this time around to take a step back and to maybe yeah, maybe ask the question if I'm happy with how it's turning out, um, and that's why I wouldn't change a thing about it. Like I like it from front to back.
Um, speaking about like, asking yourselves more questions on this record, I think there is, whether again, I have to say intentionally or not, because like I said, you guys said this was all very organic and it came out to be like a really great record because of it. There's a lot of, I think, moral ambiguity that comes with, a lot of these songs, where there's a lot of moral questions kind of left unanswered. Like again, I keep bringing up A Spotless Mind. You can tell that this person is going through a lot, emotionally. During the process of the songwriting, where you get to that level of discomfort, was it uneasy for you to move through those feelings and go deeper into that territory, or did that fuel you because, this was new territory that you hadn't explored like previously on the last album?
Like for me, I'd say I don't have a hard time like talking about these topics. Like I'm a
Hmm.
very open person. Like I'm always reflecting on myself, my behavior and stuff. And even when we were writing the lyrics for this record, and Dave and me had some vocal writing sessions, like we always talk about everything. And I think because we're like genuine, real good friends in real life, not just bandmates, um, like there wasn't anything like hard to process, or if it was hard, it was like an easy talk because you could talk like I'm not recording the vocals for myself. I'm writing it with like for with myself
Hmm.
because yeah, we're just a duo and we're like doing everything together. So I think that makes everything much easier to like to process and um, yeah, and to get through these feelings in the lyrics and what you're trying to achieve with it.
What about for you, David?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I feel like uh, this record, the lyrics and the topics, they all very much match each other. Like it's all under the same kind of theme, but we weren't really aware about that while writing it. So I feel like yeah, it came very naturally, and just as Mauro said, we are very open and talk about everything. So it wasn't really a tough process for us
Hmm.
to go through it. It was if anything, it was therapeutic, and it yeah, it just helped us to use this creative outlet to deal with stuff that maybe at the time we weren't aware of that we needed to do, but in hindsight, it really helped us a lot.
Yeah, and like just to add on to it, like um, the funny thing about this record, lyrically, especially for me, is that it feels like that we've been writing these songs after writing some part of the lyrics that um, yeah, I was doing, like we were doing this very subconsciously, and by the end, by the time the album was finished, um, like I had realized that the lyrics became like very relevant and personal to me, and it felt like I was writing this record lyrically for myself now, for my future
Hmm.
self. So that was a very weird but beautiful experience. Like the songs really like they mean a lot more to me now, um, as like before when they were in the writing process, because it really feels like writing them for me now. So yeah, it's a very weird experience for me to like to say that, but um, yeah, the record became very, very, very personal to me by the end when it was finished.
I mean, even the imagery feels a little bit personal too. Like even when I look back on, there's beauty in letting go. There's a very distinct change in, the imagery for the album work and even, things that you guys have been putting out, for the tracks up until this point. How big was, imagery for the album, just as important as the lyricism when you were creating this record?
I mean, visuals are always super important for us. Like uh we always like yeah, it's I mean of course it's music, but I feel like the visual aspects and everything around it are just are super super important as well. Um, and I think Mauro came up with the concept of like with every single release we also had like this the final record uh, it was drawn out. At first, it looked like a sketch, and with
Hmm.
every release, it started to become more like the record artwork looks now. And yeah, Mauro had this really cool idea to do it this way, and it just feels like it's just very cool to have this have the singles come out, and after like every single you the picture just gets more finished in a visual, but also like in a musical kind of sense.
Now, I think that it's all really cool how this is all like just the idea of the anatomy and stuff like that. I thought that was a really cool way to, put this journey, lyrically and, the imagery behind it. I thought was very strong and it's very significant of how much you guys have grown as a band and you can see it like within this album and, within the visuals as well. If you could take a line and have it as a tattoo. If you could pick a lyric that was going to be stuck with you permanently, why would it be that? And what would be the private meaning of what that would have for you?
That is a very good question. That is a
Wow.
very,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
oh, I needed a second to think about that.
Just like on the top of my head, like I bet if I had like more time to think about it, I would maybe come up with another line. But I'd say the one that's like stuck in my head now is um, there is this line in the chorus of "God of Glass and Wire," which is "I walk through hell just to feel alive." And for me, that line is just like it's self-destructive in like if you just read it. But for me, like it exists as like it's proof of existence,
Hmm.
like if sometimes you make some stupid decisions and stuff, but yeah, there's this there's this kind of way where you do something and it just makes you feel that you're like living your life. So I'd go with Walk Through Hell just to feel alive because it was one of the last lyrics like we wrote for the record.
What about you, David?
Okay, I had some time to think. I I I really like the concept of or the theme of a spotless mind, and I think I would choose the lyrics if I could press rewind. Would it feel the same? Because I just really like the idea of having time pass and to appreciate every moment as you live through it, and well, having uh, having making beautiful memories and just taking everything in and not taking it for granted.
That's really cool. And I like that you guys chose my favorite two songs off of this
Mhm.
record.
Ah, sick.
Hey.
I really can't
Perfect.
wait till
That
anybody
was on purpose.
right. We were all
Yeah,
thinking
yeah, yeah.
mentally, we were all in sync. But was there ever a point where I know sometimes, during creating, an album, a, everybody has all these big ideas and stuff like that. And sometimes, bands don't always necessarily agree with each other. Um, is there a story where you guys had an artistic disagreement with a song structure or, you know, going into a song, but yet, coming from that, it became like a stronger piece because of it?
To be honest, on this record, we didn't have much um disagreements. Like, sometimes there's like there's always parts where like um some of us are, oh my God, this is the best part we've ever written, and some of us are like, yeah, it's cool, but yeah, it's not my favorite.
Hmm.
But um like the only if I think about the only time we were in disagreement was when we started writing the records. We had like a bit of a difficult start to it because we were like trying and like with different keys and with different guitar tunings and stuff, and like we didn't know which way to go. But we like all together like decided that we wanted like for this record we just wanted to write songs that are fun to listen to and are fun to play live. So like when we were writing riffs or like parts and stuff, we were always like had this in the back of our minds that like how would this part like transcend live if we're going to play it live.
Hmm.
So I think yeah, the only time we probably disagreed on this record was in the beginning where we were just like, but it wasn't even disagreement, it was just yeah, trying to make something different. um but yeah, I can't think of any situation on this record where we're like where someone was like, nah, we're not doing that, like this never. Like this time around it was more like someone brings an idea that maybe on the first record we would have been like, I don't know. Like on this record, like every idea was considered, and
Hmm.
yeah, we have. I mean, we have like a reggaeton part on the Gods of Glass and Wire, where like
I
Dave
love
makes
that so
a
much.
Spanish like call out and stuff. Like I don't know if we would have done that on the first record, but on this record we were like,
Probably not.
dude, like that. If that sounds like fun, let's do it.
Of
And everyone
course.
agreed. Everyone was like on board. Yes, yeah, fuck yes, let's do it. So yeah,
I love
that's it.
how much of there was a lot of creative risk on this record, like I like that you brought that up. It's a very subtle thing, but as an artist, you going back to the first album and how much that sound has changed. Going back to,
Yeah.
there's beauty in letting go into this, there you can tell that there has been a significant growth, change, and just really embracing like who you guys are as a band. And I know a lot of times like it's hard to do that when you come from one sound. It's like, is that going to sound good, or is that going to sound like weird or whatever? And I'm glad you guys took all those risks on this album. It made it what it was. Um, Speaking of, risk, at what point of the album did you feel you stepped up the most during the process, and how did that significantly change or alter, the album as a whole just by, taking those risks?
Like I'd say it started pretty early. Like when we written Ikigai, it was like the first song we released. And by the time of releasing it, I don't know, we probably had like 3 songs written, like not
Hmm.
that much, but I think Ikigai like was like the stepping stone, or like the one track that like gave us the direction which we wanted to go. And yeah, I think it was very pretty early on that we're like, um where we decided, yeah, this is the way we um want to take on this record. So I'd say it would be Ikigai. Yeah, like on the first track. On the first track.
What about for you, David?
I I actually remember I think it was the second time that we went into the studio with or like we split we split our recording sessions up into like multiple weeks, and I think it was the second time that we went, and we I don't know which song we finished up, but Manuel, our producer, he really liked the song that we did, and then he was like, wait, what were the last
I
songs we
know which.
recorded? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he was like, what were the last songs that we've recorded? And then he started listening to them and he was like, this album is gonna be super great. And we were like, shit,
Really?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
we
I
had like
remember that, dude.
we
I
remember
remember that
having his
moment. Yeah,
approval. Yeah.
yeah.
That's awesome.
No.
Without revealing too much, for you guys, what can we expect, since we have to kind of wait for a little bit for this album to come out, so I don't want to you reveal anything that you guys can't reveal or talk about just yet. But what can we look forward to as fans within the next month or so?
I think we really want to take this record on the road and show it and present it to as many people as we can, because we feel like these songs really belong on stage and belong
Hmm.
and are meant to be played live. As for as for the dates and cities that we're going to play, there's not much we can talk about right now. There's a lot of stuff in the works. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay.
No scoop.
Dang it. I thought there was going to be a slip up of some sort, and it's okay. I
No, we're
respect it.
professionals.
Yeah.
I respect it. It's okay, I guess. But no, I am really excited for everybody to really hear this record. I guess the last question I'll leave with you guys is there anything that you did on this record, compositionally, that you will carry into the next one? Something that really, struck you, that made you feel like, I have grown and this is something I want to take to the next record with me.
Um, like for me, I don't know if I can pinpoint it like in a sentence, but I had like for me personally, like the best time recording vocals. Like recording vocals is always like a bit nerve-wracking for me, because when you start to like after the fifth take or something, and you think you cannot get it right, you start to get nervous and stuff. And for me, on this record particularly, I had such a great time with our producer Manuel recording vocals. And if I could take anything with me for the next record, it was just yeah, keep that feeling that I had on this record recording vocals with me.
What about you, David?
Um, uh, like I touched upon earlier, it's I really liked how secure we were on in our decision making, and um how experimental we were and encouraging to new ideas. And I really want to
Mhm.
take this with us on the next record that we do.
No, that's awesome. It definitely, like I said, it does definitely feel like a very collaborative effort. You guys feel more confident than ever on this record. From the risks that you guys took to, the lyrical standpoint, and like I said, even the imagery, it just feels like a very strong, mature, cohesive effort from you guys. And I really, really can't wait for everybody to hear the rest of this record.
Same.
I know I have been very blessed as a music journalist to be able to hear these records beforehand, and you can't really talk about it unless, everybody else gets to hear it along with you. So I think it's always cool to be able to get into the minds of the artists to really understand. It's one thing for you as a journalist to understand it from your perspective, but when you hear it from the people that actually, spent all these months living, breathing, creating it, I think it brings a whole nother different aspect to it when you listen to it again. It's like, wow, I didn't think about it that way. And I
Mhm.
think, having you guys on the show to talk about, this record, I think, is going to help people understand it more and really understand where you guys are coming from as a band. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
thank you
was
so
much
much for
fun.
doing what you do.
Thank you so much. Um, for everybody else that is watching, thank you guys for tuning in, watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Give these guys some love. They're doing some really great things. Um, If anything, if you guys have been liking their singles, I highly suggest you go back to the other album and really listen to it. It's also good stuff too. Different kind of sound from this album, but definitely something to look forward to until we can get to the bigger stuff that you guys are releasing right now. So, um, thank you guys, and thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.